Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 23rd episode of the Drive Podcast. I'm Kyle Fry, joined, of course, as always, by Jared Paolo. And today is basically shit on bad articles by bad writers episode, isn't it, Jared?
Yeah, we got a few. we got a few bad ones to talk about today.
One on the Sixers, two on the Flyers, because, as we mentioned last week, I think, those are pretty much the majority of the bad writers in Philadelphia, so...
Yeah, you don't see many bad, like, the Eagles writers, they're pretty good. I mean, I won't say they're the greatest. Like, there's better, there's worse, but they're not like
ESP exists, so
yeah, like they don't. Yeah, they don't like Philly, and like I immediately just think of Philly Inquirer because that's where a lot of the bad like writers are. For Philly, but like the Eagles ones aren't bad. And the Phillies ones are really good. Like personally, I really like Lawrence, Gelb, Breen. Like I like those guys. So, yeah. But the Flyers and the Sixers, those different stories.
Yeah, it's just a shitfest of epic proportions. But
yeah.
Until then, till we get to those articles, Sixers Summer League started, and we'll just get it out of the way because I know it's the main story. Markel Fultz out 1 to 2 weeks, which is. He's out for the whole entire summer league, and he's probably gonna just... They're probably putting him in bubble wrap until preseason and everything.
Yeah.
Sprained ankle, he suffered that yesterday. Today's Sunday when we're recording this, against the Warriors in the Las Vegas Summer League. It doesn't seem that serious of an injury. Like we said, just 1 to 2 weeks should be the recovery time, so nothing like Ben Simmons and the broken foot, or whatever Joel Embiid has had to deal with the past few years, or Noel, or you know the story by now. But before his injury, he was averaging 20 points per game, 3.5 boards, and 3 assists. He had 8 points before he got hurt in the summer league game. He was looking pretty good, so I know it sucks that he went down with an injury, but also is just kind of whatever at this point. Like, just have him rest, get ready for preseason.
Yeah, for sure. And, like, just, like, with his line, like, yeah, 20 points, 3.5 boards, so he says, honestly, he probably could have had, there's a really good chance that if he had 23.5 and 3, or not even 20, if he had, like, 20 points regular season and 3.5 boards and, like, actual teammates other than Cabarro, who wasn't always on the floor with him, and Bolden, who wasn't always on the floor with him, he probably would have had at least an extra 3, maybe 4 assists per game, because there was a lot of like wide open shots, like pretty much wide open shots from 3, from 10 feet, from pretty much from everywhere. I remember there was a few layups that his teammates blew. And in specific, Caleb, whatever
his name is,
Tarsaszewski or whatever. I don't know. Trash, by the way, trash.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, there's probably a solid 3, maybe 4 more assists in there for sure. I don't think he's gonna average 20 points this season, with the actual Sixers, because he probably won't play enough to average 20. He's still gonna play probably at least 30 minutes a game, but I don't think he plays more than maybe 32, 33 minutes a night, just because he's rookie season. He's 19, and yeah, but the ankle, huge relief when it came out that it was only a sprain, and obviously when it came out just today, in fact, that it was a 1 to 2 week recovery time estimation. I mean, he's already back on the court. Like, there was video of him at Summer League, dribbling around, shooting, everything. He's walking on it fine. There's not really much of a limp noticeable. Like, it's really obviously a positive. I mean, you never want to see a guy get injured, but if anything has to do with an ankle, you want it to be a sprain.
Yeah. If he was going to get hurt, it's good that it was this kind of injury and not, again, like I said, what Simmons went through last year, or something more serious. Like, it sucks, of course, but it's kind of just whatever. He's gonna be out for the rest of Summer League. It's kind of whatever, because Summer League has been completely trash basketball anyway. I haven't been able to get through games. Like, I
It's
just
tough.
can't watch
Yeah,
it.
it's
It's
tough.
so bad.
Yeah, like usually what I'll do is I'll just watch when Fultz or Bolden or Cabarro or Korkmaz are on the floor, and then generally every time, like all the other times, like even if like one of them is on the floor, I'll turn it off. But like if there's at least like two of them on the floor at the same time, I'll usually just watch. But then I'll just like switch to something else for the other time. So
Yeah.
kind of keeps it
It's
fresh.
it's pretty ugly basketball to say the least. Like, it's, oh my god, man. Like, I just can't watch like 5 passes out beyond the 3-point line, and then settling for a 3-pointer that's contested. And I'm just like, why?
Mhm.
You have, like, there's no such thing as a center. I mean, granted, I don't want Caleb, whatever the fuck his name is, getting the ball anyway.
Yeah.
But it would be nice to see them actually use a center instead of just being like, "Yo, big dude, come here,
Yeah.
set the damn pick already."
Yeah.
It's like, it's just so ugly. But speaking of Jonah Bolden, he's been easily probably the most impressive player in Summer League besides Fultz. Maybe even more impressive than Fultz at times. Uh, Crazy elite defender already.
Mhm.
It seems like
Oh, yeah.
his offensive game is pretty solid. He's been knocking down 3-pointers, which I didn't think he was going to be able to do, but he's been.
He's playing like he wants to come over this year, which is
He's playing like he wants to take Amir Johnson's job.
yeah, it's
like
really promising to see that, and you have to wonder at this point because of what we've seen out of Bolden already. You have to wonder if Brian Colangelo would be even more inclined to do something with Julio Okafor. Now, whether or not they do that or not, just because of, like I mentioned last week, how they probably want to get him time with, you know, Fultz, Simmons, Dario, like these guys now. Whereas last year he could really only get time with Dario because him and Embiid wouldn't be on the court at the same time. But you never know. With how Bolden's playing, I personally would be more inclined to move him than I ever was. Probably missed out on the deadline last year because that was the best shot. But yeah, Bolden has been playing better than I thought, better than a lot of people thought he would, especially on defense. Like, he has been everywhere on
the
defense.
chase down blocks.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my god.
yeah. Blocks. His hands are. He has really long arms to go on top of
Yeah,
him being.
like, he closes the gap.
Yeah,
so
he's
easily.
what 6'9", 6'10", and he can pretty much like deflect a pass from anywhere on anybody. Chase down blocks, like Kyle mentioned. He's been looking like really good, and I if there's a possibility that we can move Okafor and have Bolden instead, I would be all for it. So we'll just have to wait and see, obviously, but yeah.
And to keep this in perspective, it is just Summer League, but still, you can see the potential in him. So
Mhm.
at the very least, it's a guy that, after next season, he could just slot in right where Amir Johnson is, and boom, there you go. Like,
Yeah.
that's basically the worst case scenario, honestly.
Yeah, and
Like,
the thing
at this
with
point, because he's
yeah, go ahead.
he's there.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, he seems like he's ready for it.
Yeah, he does. And the thing with it is, even though it is Summer League, you gotta figure we've gone up, or the Sixers have gone up against the Celtics, the Jazz. What was it? Did they play 3 in Utah? The Celtics, the Jazz, and was it the?
I'll look it up.
It was the Spurs. Yeah, it was the Spurs. And then in Vegas they play They play the Warriors already. They play the Celtics, and they play the
Spurs tonight.
Okay, so it's the Spurs again. Okay, so you got to figure those teams, the Celtics, Spurs, Warriors, and Jazz. They all have really good young players. And it's not like they're kind of just showing up for no reason and just to get some random D League or now G League players some time and attention. But like the Celtics, they have Tatum, they have Brown. Jaylen Brown's playing summer league for whatever reason. Which
Same reason Dante Exum is playing Summer League.
Well, I think Dante Exum is playing it because he missed all of a season, and he's what if this is gonna because he only has like one full season I think under his belt, and then he missed a full season. So I think
I feel like he's been in the league for like 10 years.
It does feel like it. Yeah. Because he was drafted the same year Embiid was.
Oh yeah, okay. So Exum, so Exum was drafted in 2014. He played the 14-15 season, then didn't play in 15-16.
Oh, okay.
So I guess that's. But even then, like I feel like he shouldn't be allowed to, but whatever.
Yeah.
The NBA is weird with their developmental stuff.
Yeah, it's weird. It's whatever. But, like this is like the summer league is like completely different from anything in any other league. Like you don't see the MLB. Well, the draft for the MLB is in season, so that you can't really do anything there except plug them right into their minor leagues. Same with hockey and football. Like you don't see them throwing out rookies in just random games. I don't know. The summer league is a good kind of thing, but it's also bad because of obviously what happens with injuries and whatnot. But I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm for or against it. It's kind of like a iffy thing with me because like I want to see guys, but then again I don't want to see them get injured. So
yeah, like at this point I kind of want the Sixers to just be like, no, we withdraw from the summer league. We're done. we're not losing any more of our first overall picks to the garbage that is the summer league.
Yeah, that would be good. But yeah, Furkin Korkmaz has looked.
He's Furkin here.
Yeah,
he's Furkin here.
He hasn't looked great, but he hasn't looked bad. Like I expected him to take at least the entire Utah because he played in the second and then the third Utah game. I expected him to take both of those games to kind of acclimate himself, but in my opinion, by the end of the third quarter in the first game that he played, he was acclimated. So, especially on defense,
he started out a little bit slow, but he was ready by that time. Like he just took a little bit to get the jitters out, I think.
Yeah, pretty much. Like his defense was from the get-go fine because he's so active, like Bolden with his hands. It's insane. Like watching those two guys on defense was pretty fun to watch because of how just active they were. They were everywhere. Like it felt like two guys were able to guard everyone because of how active they are on defense. So definitely like what I'm seeing from Korkmaz. Definitely not he's definitely not shooting as well as we all would have hoped. I think he went 1 for 6 or 1 for 5 from 3 in his first or second game. I think it was his second game, but still, like we said, he's getting acclimated because I think the 3-point line in the NBA is different from every other league like in the world. So except maybe even the international line. Like I'm not even sure, but yeah, he's just gonna get acclimated still, and then he'll probably get some time with the Sixers this year, but not an overwhelmingly amount. Yeah, he's gonna basically. Yeah, he's gonna get. He'll probably play a solid. He's gonna probably be like a guy like Poitras last year, where he played the D League last year, G League this year. But like it's gonna be more time with the Sixers, I think, than Poitras had, because Poitras only played like 7 games with the Sixers last year. But I think Korkmaz will probably get a good amount of games with the Sixers, like as many as a 2-way contract probably allows. So.
Yeah, I imagine he'll probably be up maybe around the trading deadline, like assuming they make kind of room for him, because I feel like he's going to put up really good numbers in I'm going to call it the D League because I hate that they call it that. It's been renamed the G League because, I don't know, it just pisses me off. But I think he's going to be pretty dominant down there, so by the trading deadline he'll probably be up, and especially if they maybe need like, I don't know, just some like added 3-point power like going down the stretch for what we hope is going to be a playoff run. Mm-hmm. But I would imagine that he gets up before Poitras did, at least last year. So
yeah,
Another one of the young guys, TLC, Timothy Loawu Cabarro, finally saying his name correctly after basically a full year. Uh, Averaging 14 points, 4.5 boards, and 4 assists. One of the better guys in the summer league that we've seen. And of course, because as is tradition with the Sixers, injury. Laceration of his upper lip, required stitches. It's not that serious,
No,
obviously.
yeah,
It's whatever, but it's just it just figures that of course he plays well, he gets hurt. It's the way of the Sixers.
Yeah, Cabro has looked. He looked good. Like he looked like a guy who had an NBA season under his belt.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's what you want to expect. Like in the same boat as Jaylen Brown is with the Celtics. Luau Cabarro was in the same boat, like I just said, with the Sixers. He didn't try to do like too much where he figured, okay, well, I have a season of NBA experience under my belt. I could just like run all over these guys, do whatever I want, and then fail miserably. No, he played it like he just was drafted. Like he wasn't too cocky. He didn't try to do too much, and he got his teammates involved with the 4 assists per game. And he also you could tell his shooting form when when like the original like shoot around videos from the first summer league game were released or were posted by like beat writers and whatnot. His shooting form looks a lot better. He has a higher release, looks a lot more clean, which is obviously very good because he shot decently well last year with the Sixers, but not some crazy good amount. His defense isn't great enough. I mean, he's still a good defensive player, but like he's not that good defensively where you could kind of forgive I guess, 3-point shooting and just shooting in general. So it's definitely good that he's trying to work on it.
He's not at like the Robert Covington level of defense where you can just kind of forgive poor offensive play yet.
Yeah.
Like he'll probably get there by the end of maybe at the end of the season, but probably more likely just by the end of like 2 years from now. Like he'll get there eventually, but he's just not there yet. So
yeah.
He'll still be a guy who doesn't play a lot, but he's going to get obviously a lot more minutes this year, I think, than he did last year.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And he should. Like he was really good down the stretch last year. He was proving himself every single game.
Yeah, and as because he was starting at the end toward the end of the year, he was starting. I think I'm not sure how many games exactly he started. I'll look it up right now.
It was a lot. Like he was basically starting all the way down the stretch.
Yeah, he was starting. Yeah.
Started 19 games.
Yeah, and those are. I bet you those are probably right at the end
90%
of the year.
down the stretch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Cabarro, he's looked pretty solid. He won't start next year.
No.
Just because of everybody else. But yeah, he should get. He'll probably be second string shooting guard / small forward, but it'll be a weird thing with him because of what favors with him is that he can play both guard and forward. So
Yeah.
he has the height for it to be a forward. He also has like the quickness, the versatility, the handles to be a guard. So yeah.
Man, where does Nick Stauskas fit on this team?
I don't know, really.
Like,
Like it's gonna be tough with him. But Brett Brown did mention him as one of their untouchables, I guess, for last season, or like not untouchables, but guys who are gonna stick around, like definitely for this season.
I mean, he played so well at the end of last season. Like he almost looked like a point guard at times. Like he could have that type of like playmaking ability. And like I don't know, I don't want them to give up on him just because I think that he improved so much last year. So
Yeah, no, I don't think they'll give up on him.
I don't know
yet.
where he fits in on this team.
It's
but
weird because
it's just gonna be interesting.
if you figure, because his 3-point shooting increased last year, his defense improved last year, his ball handling skills improved a lot better, his screen play improved a lot better, or improved much more last year. So I feel like if they, or if his 3-point shooting increases yet again, and he continues to show that he could be a viable 3-and-D type guy. Then as we need like a death lineup at the end of a game, you figure you could put in Fultz with both Redick and Stauskas, with probably Dario and Embiid, maybe not Dario. Somebody else
Probably
who
you
could
play
shoot.
Simmons at the 4 and
Yeah, like it'll be
maybe even
it'll be interesting to see who will be, I guess, in that death lineup because of the versatility of a lot of guys. Maybe actually probably Robert Covington is a possibility.
Yeah. That could make a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah.
If they're going for like an all shooting lineup, yeah.
Yeah.
Like that would just make more sense for Cov.
Mm-hmm.
What we're trying to say is there's gonna be a lot of combinations this year for the Sixers.
A ton. Because you figure everybody who's on this roster, will play. Like you're not gonna get any guys who are gonna play 5 minutes a game. I mean, certain nights, sure. If it's like if a guy needs rest or is whatever, then sure you'll get nights where guys play 5-10 minutes. But everybody on this team, I could see at least playing 15 minutes a night, like a solid amount.
Yeah.
Like in some nights, obviously, certain guys will get more than others. Like some nights, Stauskas might get 20-25 minutes if he's shooting well. Amir Johnson might get 20-25 minutes if he's playing lockdown D and rebounding the hell out of the ball and having a nice night shooting. Like there's certain guys who won't get as much time as others, but will still play more to kind of take the load off of these other guys. So like Kyle said, there's going to be a shit ton of different roster lineup possibilities with this team. So it's definitely going to be a fun watch next year for the Sixers, especially with all the young guys.
There's this. I can't wait for. I'm assuming like end of October because that's basically when last season started. But just again, like we said last episode, give us fall sports. We need it so much.
Yeah.
So just in the last few things on the Sixers before we head on to the Flyers, Isaiah Miles, Alex Poitras, which we mentioned a little bit earlier, and Brandon Austin have been performing pretty well. I think all of them were averaging over 10 points per game.
Brandon Austin was fifth in, I think, the Utah Summer League in points. So.
Yeah. Now, if only he wasn't just such a shithead.
Yeah.
Like if he wasn't, that would be nice. But of course.
Of course.
But basically, can't wait for the end of October. Can't wait for preseason at least. So basically, beginning of October because preseason will probably start around then. It's gonna be a fun time. We get to see Ben finally. We get to see Dario. Of course, again, Embiid, and again, Fultz. The best thing about this is Fultz. No minutes restrictions though. That's what I'm just looking forward to. Like we don't have to worry about like having to keep Embiid on the bench or Simmons on the bench. Like no, it's just get out there and win us games.
Yeah, they'll play like the majority. Like they'll obviously they're not gonna be full blown 38, 40 minute a night guys every night.
Yeah.
Like they'll get like certain. Like there will be like kind of a minutes restriction, but not really. Like it'll be like an unofficial minutes restriction. But like one more thing, just before we get to the TJ article, Redick and Johnson.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Redick and Johnson officially signed, so now they're like actually on the Sixers. So yeah. And if you haven't seen those press conferences, listen to JJ Redick's because he sounds really optimistic and he's really happy to be in Philly. So that's awesome.
As he should be.
Yes.
I mean, you get to play with Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
How could you possibly want to go anywhere
else? He's just like imagining the scenarios where like Simmons drives and he's just like wide open in a corner somewhere, or like wide open at the half point
Embiid's backing
line, somewhere, like everywhere. It's gonna be fun. As someone
Embiid's like backing down in the post, and it's just like, what the hell?
I don't know. I think someone is. Yeah, I think someone's like cutting down a hedge or something. I'm not sure. That's fine though. It's fine.
Always we get interruptions on the Drive podcast.
Yep.
Whether it's sirens or
horns or
some, we get everything.
Yeah.
So, our first shitty article of the day. This is by Jack McCaffrey of DelcoTimes.com. So,
Ooh.
I don't even know where to begin with this because this is so shitty. So, this is basically I'm trying to find like a line that I can start with because I feel like there's just one quote that needs to be start off just to like explain how shitty this is.
I think the first
okay.
sentence,
No,
honestly.
the first line.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the more T.J. McConnell did last season to help win a basketball game, the closer Brett Brown knew he was coming to be trapped. The fuck you talking about, bro?
Yeah.
The fuck are
basically,
you talking about?
Basically, the gist of this whole article is how T.J. McConnell should play a lot this season, and yeah,
like over Ben Simmons
yeah.
at times.
And the thing is, he's not even our second string point guard. He's our third string point guard behind behind technically Fultz and Bayless. He's our third stringer. So
I keep forgetting about Jared Bayless.
I mean, yeah, like, so I'm not really all that sure what this guy was thinking. I'm not even sure if he mentioned. I don't even think he mentioned Jared Bayless in this entire article.
No, he didn't. He literally didn't even talk about Jared Bayless.
He probably. I don't even know. I sincerely hope that this guy is not that dumb and just simply mistakenly forgot about Jared Bayless. And
I mean, I think the rest of the article just shows how dumb he is. But
yeah, like he basically goes on to say that, like here, he says, McConnell is not a special shooter. Simmons has some kind of outside shooting phobia, which is true. Like, Simmons, his shot isn't the greatest.
But we don't need his shot to be the greatest.
Yeah.
Like, who cares?
Like, I'm gonna take a 6'10".
I don't want Ben Simmons
I'm gonna
taking
take a 6'10" point guard who can he can handle the ball better than McConnell. He could drive better than McConnell. He could pass better than McConnell. He could shoot better than McConnell, even though his shot isn't that good. Yet.
He has post moves.
Yeah, he could play in the post. He can defend. I mean, don't get me wrong. TJ is a really good defender. For 6'2", he's a really good defender. He's scrappy. He could steal. His hands are really active, like we've been talking about with Bolden and Korkmaz. But Simmons is 6'10". He can guard 4 threes, 2s, and 1s because he's that quick. He's that athletic. He's that agile. Yeah.
He could probably guard some 5s, honestly.
Yeah, he probably
like,
can.
With the way the NBA is today, like he could play center.
Yeah, if there was like a stretch 5, like a stretch 5 who is usually a 4 but is out there as like a small lineup, yeah, Simmons can guard a 4 or a 5. So.
It is without a doubt one of the dumbest articles that I've ever read about the Sixers or just anything in general.
Mm-hmm.
And then later in that paragraph where Jared mentioned the special shooter and then Simmons with the outside shooting phobia thing, he says, and McConnell was 6th in the NBA in steals last season, 8th in assists, and proven end of game handful. Proven and a proven end of the game handful for opponents. Can Simmons duplicate that? Simmons is like 6'10" and 250. I think that alone means he can handle the end of the game. Like, he's gonna just waltz over everyone like LeBron does. It's not like, what are you talking about? Another thing in there is like, and this is another sense, and that's why it will be fascinating to see how long he can keep McConnell bottled, like McConnell is some superstar that just hasn't gotten minutes.
Yeah.
To the no.
While attributing to prove to the rest of the world what apparently only Australia, and then in parentheses, and certainly not the SEC, NCAA, LSU, or NBA knows that Simmons is already in the lobby at Springfield just waiting for his plaque to be engraved. This is referencing the NBA Hall of Fame. Is that just a shot at the LSU team not making the NCAA tournament? Because have you seen the LSU team that Simmons was a part of?
Mm-hmm.
It was trash.
Yeah.
Like, it was complete garbage. Like, Tim Quarterman was the only other good player in that team. Mm-hmm. And Tim Quarterman is essentially nothing.
Yeah, he just got traded for CP3, so.
Oh shit, that's right. Well,
Yeah, he was. I think I don't even know, honestly. Like he's not that great. He's only like, I think he's 23 or something like that. But
something like.
still,
Because that's the thing. Like Simmons was the best player on the LSU team, and he was a freshman. Like, and he was averaging
By a
a
mile.
double-double. Had like 7 assists per game. He was the only reason to watch LSU games. Well, is TJ McConnell the only reason to watch Sixers games? No, and he never
No.
will be.
No.
And this is coming from, and like we like TJ. Like we think he's a
yeah.
vastly improved player from what he showed 2 years ago.
Oh yeah.
He was really good last year, but that doesn't mean that he should get minutes over Ben Simmons in any type of way. It should be Ben, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah. So, it's it's definitely something to marvel at, not in a good way.
Yeah.
But
It's just the way it is.
Pretty much.
Like we said earlier, Sixers writers are, to say the least.
yeah.
So, without further ado, Flyers Dev Camp started. Like next year, I'm making it a mission to go there because I realize like I don't really know what to talk about because I haven't seen these guys, but I've just heard so many things about all of them. Just some key things. Oscar Lindblom, no surprise, is looking like a beast. And that's to be expected. The guy played professionally in Sweden basically the past like 3 years.
Was
So that's not all that surprising.
correct me if I'm wrong, but was that I'm not sure if you saw the video. I forget if it was him or if someone else where he was like insanely like good and agile while he was, I think he was skating with his weak hand and controlling the puck and like dodging something. Like I forget if it was him or if it was someone else that I saw a video of. Like
Do you
with
mean
a
the one
one-hand
where,
skate.
He's battling with like a Vecchione.
Well, I saw that one too. I saw that one, which was
Okay.
good. But there was
Oh.
another video. I can't remember where I saw it and if it was. I remember I saw it on Twitter. Because what else? What is it?
Was it from Charlie or?
I forget. It might have been from him. But
I'm assuming so. And
yeah, but I
yeah,
forget if it was him or if it was someone else. I'm not sure.
I mean, there's a lot of videos in Lindblom at this point. That's it's kind of hard to find at this point.
Which is very good because that there's a lot of video of it
Yeah.
because we could see obviously what he's doing and how he's doing, and obviously he's doing well. So
Yeah, there's a video of him going up against Cooper Merity, who's another forward prospect. He played with the Michigan Wolverines last season, and he should this year too, I think. He just goes against like to the boards with him, and he just shoves him out of the way and easily gets the puck. It's just like he is a man amongst boys in this Dev Camp.
yeah,
Like,
it's
he's
fun.
so good.
Oh, he's gonna be fun to watch in the lineup this year, especially if that line of him with Couturier comes true. Regardless
him
of
and Coots together.
yeah, regardless of who is their third forward, like that Couturier and Lindblom alone would be fun to watch. So
You could put Dale Weiss on that line and it would still be fun.
yeah,
So two interesting, well, really just kind of one interesting quote, but from two players in Dev Camp. Carter Hart, who is the hopeful savior of the Flyers' goaltending issues, he said that like his goal is to make the Flyers this year, like, and that's like obviously it's going to be a young player's goal to make the Flyers, but him and Travis Sanheim have been like the only ones to really come out and say that, and it's just so nice to see a guy like Hart who has all the talent in the world, seemingly at least. He's been WHL goalie of the year the past 2 years, I think, and he is so confident. I'm ready. I want to win this job, and he knows that he's not going to because they're just not going to give it to him. That's unless he just plays literally out of his mind. There's no way that he's going to make the team. But it's just so nice to see, and the same thing with Sanheim. And everything that I've seen about Sanheim has just been
positive,
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like he's getting better each and every year. Man, it's gonna be tough to keep him off the roster.
Yeah,
Like
well,
especially if he does really well in preseason, like I just can't imagine him not being in the lineup.
yeah, and I mean we'll get to this in a little bit, like you have, but it's gonna be tough for Andrew McDonald to keep his spot.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough. Like he's gonna have to like show that he's not like too big of a dumpster fire.
A dumpster fire.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's gonna be like I don't know, like because I was kind of skeptical of AMAC being buried in the AHL. Like back when we talked about your predictions, like way like 2 months ago or whatever. But
Yeah.
but now it's with how well all the defensemen are looking in the dev camp. It's promising. It really is promising, and I like don't get me wrong. I really do hope that AMAC is buried. I don't care if they all make the team and then perform like okay, not great, not bad, but okay. I'll take that over watching Andrew McDonald just suck for 82 games. Yeah.
Well, and that's where I'm at. Like, if the rookies fail, then let them fail.
Yeah.
It can't get worse than Andrew McDonald. Like, it just can't.
No.
You can't tell me that Travis Sanheim is worse than AMAC. You can't tell me Sam Moran is worse. You can't tell me Robert Hagg is worse. Even Philippe Myers or Mark Friedman, who's been impressing a lot this camp. Like, you can't tell me that those guys are actually worse than Andrew McDonald. It's just there's no.
Yeah.
He should not be on this team. He probably will be, but I can't. I don't see a reasonable way of keeping him on this team. I hope Hexy does the smart thing and just takes Dave Haxall's toy away from him, like the small child that Dave Haxall is. But I don't know. We're just hoping for it at this point. Like Sam Moran and Robert Hagg are making the team. I don't think there's any doubt that those guys are going to make the team, barring any injury. They're going to get the 2 open defense spots. It's just, man, like everything that I've seen from Sanheim, it just seems like he's going to blow it away in preseason and in training camp. So we're hoping that he's going to make it. It seems like he will if he keeps up his strong play. Just a quote from Charlie O'Connor of Broad Street Hockey on Twitter. Sanheim used to really struggle in these one-on-one coverage drills, looked lost. He's way more comfortable this year, disruptive. So that's always good to see, especially for a defenseman. Basically, all of the defense prospects are looking good.
Yeah.
So we kind of expected that too. These guys have been there for pretty much ever now. Like, Myers has been there for a while. Sanheim, I think this is like his 3rd year. So, another guy that's doing pretty well, Morgan Frost, the 27th overall pick. The guy that we basically traded Braden Shen for. Frost, another quote from Charlie O'Connor. Frost looked great today, and from what I heard, he stood out yesterday too. Plus skating and puck handling. Pretty much things we kind of knew about Frost, but it's good to see that he's showing it off in camp too. That's about it, honestly. Like, there's not really too much to say about Dev Camp, just because you have to kind of be there to see what's going on. There's some videos that people have posted, but just not enough to talk about it too in depth.
Yeah, that's usually, like, it's the one thing that is like decent about, like we were talking about before, just to go back to it, like how like the decent thing about the summer league is that like you could see them in actual game action. Like when there's just a dev camp, it's tough to kind of judge, but still, like it's promising to see, even with like the limited amount of, you know, video and actual like action. Still, it's a good.
It's so nice to see that they're doing well,
Yeah.
basically. Alright, so let's get into the final 2 articles that we have to shit on today. And they're both by Sam Donnellan of the Inquirer, because of course they're by Sam Donnellan. It's either, like, if there's going to be a shitty Flyers article on the Inquirer, it's going to be Sealski, Donnellan, or Kardashian. And those are the 3 main guys.
Yep.
So the article, the headline says, "Who says the Flyers can't have too many defensemen?" Literally everyone, because you can never have too many defensemen, because it's like you can never have too many pitchers in baseball. Like that's the way it is. Basically, my main gripe with this is he acts like there actually are like too many defensemen. We have like a roadblock or something, and like if you think about it, like how Travis Sanheim is basically blocked by Robert Hagg and Sam Moran when like they're still two young guys. Like Moran and Hagg aren't these aging veterans who are trash. Like they're young guys. Like obviously we want to see Sanheim too, but I'll deal with it if it's just Hagg and Moran. Like I'm not going to complain about that.
Yeah, it's that's not something I would complain about either. I think that's a suitable situation for sure.
Yeah. It's not something that I would ever dream about complaining about. No. I just don't understand how someone can get paid to write about a specific team, look at the best strength of the team, and say that's a problem. Like, how do you look at the team's like best thing going for them, which is their defense prospects, and be like, nope, we got an issue there. There's too many. Got too much of a good thing. So that's just not okay. It's basically the theme of the next article too, which is about Carter Hart. Sweet Jesus! Like, did you read the full thing?
I did not. No, I read parts of it, but I didn't read the whole thing. But it okay, hang on. There's a video playing. It's loud. Okay, we're good. Just based off what I read, it's like, what? I don't.
Yeah, that's basically what I got from it too. So he talks. So I didn't know about this for Carter Hart until I read the article, but he uses a sports psychologist, which
Awesome.
that's not really surprising at all. Like he's a goalie. I'm glad that he's using a sports psychologist. That helps. Like being a goalie is such a mental game, and doesn't take that much knowledge about it to understand that. Like it's just like a common thing. Like if you're a goalie, it's so much of it is just like your confidence and you knowing how your defenders are going to play the puck and everything, and how they're going to play angles, and how just it's so much of it is mental based. And Sam Donnellan basically is just like the second half of the article wasn't as bad as I thought it was originally going to be, but for one, he calls the the WHL, which is part of the CHL, it's junior hockey. Calls it the fucking Western Hockey Association. Like, bro, you get paid to write about hockey. How the fuck do you not understand what the goddamn term is? Or what the league is?
There's literally an L there. Like, where do you get association from a W and
he calls it, yeah, and he calls it the WHL later. So I seriously don't understand that. But it's just I don't understand. Like he talks about how, Ilya Bryzgalov was such a head case, and Roman Cechmanek was such a head case, and Robert Ashe, and it's just like so he says like, so longtime Flyers fans may be a tad alarmed to learn that 18-year-old Carter Hart has been working with a sports psychologist. It's like, no, none of us are concerned about that. If you're a smart person, you understand that that's a good thing.
Yeah, the best part about this entire article is when he mentions Hart's story about when he got a 5-game suspension when he was 10, because that's hysterical.
Yes.
That is hysterical.
Like, that is some Ron Hextall type.
Yeah, that is
stuff
awesome.
Right
like, it's like, when you're 10 years old, getting docked 5-game suspension, like, like, there's something that's going to be you're either going to be a special person when you're a player, or you're a special player, I should say, or you're going to be, well, when you're 10 and you're going to hit 5 games, you're competitive as all hell. That's something. So that's good. But yeah, the rest of the article is just trash. Like what?
Sam Donnellan.
You read it and you just say like, what is the point of this art? Like, I genuinely don't understand. Like, what the like
the first half was like, you know what? We had all these problems with goalies in the past because they were in their head all the time, and then he goes later on and says like, "Oh, but it's fine." It's like, why'd you even write it then?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand what he was even trying to say, and I just got pissed off at the WHA thing because like, how do you call it the WHA? Like, it's you get paid to write about hockey. God damn it! It's just such bullshit.
Yep.
But basically, we're just waiting for Flyers season 2 because, as we're going to talk about soon, the Phillies are just kind of meh. Like
Except for today. They had
except
6
for
home
today,
runs.
where they just
6
Yeah.
home runs. Yeah.
but they couldn't give Aaron Nola any fucking home runs
Nope.
because of course they couldn't.
But yeah. Phillies.
Yeah. So let's just get into Phillies because
Yeah, Jared Eichhoff. He started on today, Sunday, and he looked very good. 5 innings, 5 hits, no runs, a walk, 8 Ks, 71 pitches. Don't worry, he didn't get fatigued or anything. It's just precaution. Keep him, not on a 100 pitch count in his first start back from the DL, basically. 71 pitches, 49 of which were strikes, so that's not too bad. About a 5 out of every 7 pitches were strikes, which is pretty good. Could be better, could be worse, so I'll take it for sure. And Ben Lively was optioned to AAA to make room on the roster for Eichhoff. So I'm not sure about you. We'll get your opinion on it, Kyle, after I say mine. But I'm not a huge I'm a fan. I meant to say I'm a fan of Lively going down instead of Pivetta, because Pivetta, in my opinion, has shown a little bit more promise than Lively, just because of Lively's strikeout. I wouldn't even say issue, but the lack of strikeouts that Lively puts up is kind of concerning, and it doesn't really bode well for his future. As my phone rings, Jesus. Anyway,
every time, man.
every single time, man. Let this phone just ring until Jesus, someone pick it up, man. Okay, it's picked up. Anyway, back to what I was saying before. Pivetta, well, for one, he's been in the rotation more than Lively has. He's been here 2 different times, and I don't think you want to demote a guy for what would be the second time. Also, Lively would probably be the odd man out of the rotation anyway, if you were to demote Mark Leiter. So you figure Lively would go to the bullpen, which wouldn't be a good move either, because you still really don't know what you have in him as a starter. So I don't know about what you feel, but that's what I'm kind of thinking there. Why Lively was optioned.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree completely. Like, if it's between Pivetta or Lively, Pavetta's easily shown the better stuff, and not that I don't like Ben Lively, it's just, like you said, like, he doesn't strike a lot of people out, and for a young pitcher, that's just kind of... There's just nothing special about Ben Lively. It's... Pivetta, there's some clear, middle-of-the-rotation potential. Lively, it's more 4 or 5, just kind of...
Yeah.
If you really need a pitcher, he could do it, but he's not going to be that great. And not that Pavetta's going to be that great either. He might not be, but I think that there's just a lot more potential with Pivetta.
Yeah, for sure. And, like Kyle mentioned before, Aaron Nola like Kyle mentioned, Aaron Nola didn't get any run support, but what else is new? So he's had a very good stretch in the last 4 games. So he's gone 7 innings in all 4, at least 7 innings in all 4 of his starts. Combined, he has gone 29 and a third, giving up 17 hits, just 5 runs, 9 walks, 34 strikeouts. His ERA started at a 4.76 before the 4th most recent start he's made, and is now down to a 3.59. So that's really good, obviously. I could see him probably, if he keeps this pace up, I could probably see him finishing with an ERA around a 3. this season, and probably for one, it definitely allows the Phillies front office to say, okay, Nola is definitely a guy we're going to re-sign, because, like we mentioned a few times on the podcast, not for a while though, Odubel Herrera is the only player on this team that is signed for next year. Everybody else is not signed, so, which is crazy to think. But I think there's probably guys in the bullpen that are fine. But anyway, Nola is not signed, I believe, so he'll probably get an extension. And I would assume with how Eichhoff looked today, because you got to figure his back was probably bugging him for a lot more than the start or two that it was bugging him before he went on the DL. So this offseason, I'm gonna assume probably Eichhoff gets extended and Nola probably gets extended as well. But I am planning to do a breakdown on Nola and what he's been doing on either Made for Philly or The Good Fight. So yeah, shameless plug. Just watch out for that, because we'll probably talk about it next week or something. But
yeah. I'll of course put the links in the description below, of course, for the
whenever I do
articles whenever it's up. Yeah. So I admit it just figures that of course Aaron Nola gets no run support, just like Cole Hamels would. Like, of course the ace of the rotation never gets run support.
Yep.
Like it just always happens. It never fails with this team. Nola has looked freaking amazing lately. He's shown over the past 4 games basically the potential that I think a good amount of people still see in him, because everyone just kind of seems to be conceding the fact that Nola's only going to be a middle of the rotation guy. I don't know, if he keeps up this, he could be a top starter. He's got the breaking pitches to do it. I know he doesn't have the greatest fastball, but he doesn't need it. His breaking pitches are just elite already.
Mm-hmm. And everybody forgets he just turned 90 he just turned 24 a month ago. So
yeah, he's still young.
Yeah.
I was having this conversation with God, I'm so sorry. I forget how to pronounce her name. Megan.
Oh my god!
Every damn time.
It's really something else.
Megan. It's never ending.
Nope.
But I was having that conversation with Megan Montemurro about pitchers who they'll suck in their first few years, but then they'll just turn it around, like Aaron Nola hopefully seems to be doing. But look at Roy Halladay and Cliff Lee. Those are prime examples of guys who sucked at the beginning of their career and they turned it around, and they went on to be aces for their respective teams.
Yeah, pretty much. But Nola is he's our best pitcher by a mile right now.
Yeah, easily. So it's not even debatable, honestly.
Yeah, he's showing a lot of improvement, because obviously he went on the DL earlier this year. When I forget what he injured, but it's regardless.
Wasn't it a back strain?
It was either
same thing for him.
It might have been a back. It might have been a back, maybe an elbow. I forget. But it wasn't a lasting injury, which is obviously good. But yeah, his WHIP is at a 1.18 on the year. Let me real quick. He has a 25 to 81 walk to strikeout ratio, which is very good. And so to put this into perspective, Aaron Nola's career batting average against is 251. This year it's a 232. And yeah, his career whip's a 124. This year's a 118, like I said. So really he's looked fairly good all year. Obviously aside from those when he went on the DL. But if you subtract the 3 games since May 21st, where he gave up 5 runs on the 26th of May, 4 runs on the 31st of May, and 5 runs on the 16th of June. He hasn't given up more than 3 runs, or he's only given up 3 runs once. The rest of his starts were all no runs, 1 run, or 2 runs. So, and all at least 5, 6 strikeouts. His last 4 games, he's struck out 9, 8, 9, 8. So, what he's been showing is really good, obviously. And yeah, legit, probably number 2 in the rotation type guy if he keeps doing what he's doing, because 1s and 2s in the rotation are always inning eaters, and you need inning eaters to obviously help your bullpen, and it's been helping because our bullpen has been not bad lately. With
Surprisingly,
yeah, with Nola going a good amount and Hellickson having a few good starts in a row, plus Pavetta's gone, I think, 3 straight starts of 7 innings. So as these guys start to build up, innings, 7, 8 innings like Nola, the bullpen's going to be better because they're not pitching as much, you're getting better rest. So yeah, they're getting hopefully leads.
Well, that's something that like I think a lot was a little bit like underrated at the beginning of the season, like when the bullpen was struggling, was the fact that they were pitching basically all the time. Like, yeah, they still sucked. Like, they were still pitching horribly, but I don't think you can just kind of discount the fact that they basically had to pitch all the time because no starter went deep into games.
Yeah.
Like, no one did. Like, it was, if a starter went 7 innings, it was a miracle basically for the bullpen.
Pretty much, yeah. It's now it's a lot better.
So another starter, Vince Velasquez, should be coming back sometime after the All-Star break. Obviously, that'll mean one of the guys in the rotation will have to go down. So obviously, 2 main guys will be Pivetta or Leiter. Which would you rather see go down, in your opinion?
I don't know, because the thing with with how it's gonna work out is if Leiter is sent down, then I think I honestly don't know, because if Leiter goes down, then you gotta figure it's either a 6-man rotation or Velasquez or Pivetta are in the bullpen, and I don't think they want to put Pivetta in the bullpen at all, because like I said before, he's been pitching really, really well as of late. So that for one is why I wouldn't touch Pivetta right now. I would keep him in the big league rotation for sure. But that could also mean that Hellickson is traded really early, because last year talks with him kind of didn't really get heated up until like the last week of July. But there has been,
even then it was barely anything.
Yeah,
like,
there has been some rumors that
good.
like he could be moved early, because his value has gone down a little bit because he's had a little bit worse of a year this year than he had last year. So yeah, really right now the options are either trade Hellickson during the All-Star break, and then when Velasquez is back, keep him in the rotation, or you send one of Pivetta or Pivetta or Leiter down, and either put Velasquez in the bullpen, Pivetta in the bullpen, or go with a 6-man rotation. So I don't know, really. I personally, what I would do is I would probably try my absolute heart out to trade Hellickson and then just put Velasquez back in the rotation. But who knows if they can get that done. So honestly, it's going to be tough to get Velasquez back in the rotation. I hope they don't go with the 6-man rotation, because that would take away time from Pivetta and Nola and Eichhoff. So yeah, I don't know. It's like I said like 47 times already. It's gonna be tough.
Yeah, yeah, this one I'm just kind of hoping Hellickson gets traded like as soon as possible, just so. Like, I don't want Pivetta to go to the bullpen at all. I don't even want him to go back to AAA, because I think that he's kind of showing like he's got major league stuff, like he can survive up here. Like, I just kind of want to see what he has, but I don't know. It's just tough with Velasquez because you traded Giles for him basically, so you want to see you want to make sure that you know what you really have in him before you give up on him because of course he's had a really bad start to the season. Um, Manly, I don't know.
I guess
I kind of
yeah.
I don't know. I don't really want to see him in the bullpen, but is that the only really shot we got on because I don't know. Would you rather have him in the rotation or Pivetta at this point?
I don't well, if you gave me it right now, I would take Pavetta just because of how well he's been pitching. But
Well, yeah,
the thing
but-
with Velasquez is I'm not convinced that he can't be a starter because we've seen really 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 good flashes a few times. Obviously last year, everybody knows about the 17 inning or the 17
strikeouts,
16
yeah.
strikeout game last year. And plus he's gone obviously there's the games where he goes 5 innings and throws 100 pitches, which are obviously not good signs, and you can't really be in the rotation if you're going to be doing that time in and time out. But then you also get games where he goes 7 innings, barely walks anybody, strikes out 10, and then you get games where he'll have a decent game. He'll go 6 innings. He'll get hit for maybe 3-4 runs, but he'll still strike out a good amount. He doesn't walk a lot of people to begin with. So I think in the bullpen, Velasquez would be okay, just because he doesn't walk anybody and he strikes out a good amount. Obviously his velocity's up, but it'll be interesting to see how the front office handles it more than anything, because personally I think it'll be a bigger kind of sign as to what the front office thinks of both Pavetta and Velasquez going forward, based on this one move alone. But the thing with it is Velasquez isn't necessarily coming back right after the All-Star break. Because he's made 2 rehab starts, and I don't think he's gone more than 3 innings in either. So they might want to give him 1 or 2 more to work up his innings, and you figure by the time he makes another rehab start or 2, that could probably be in the 3rd week of July, which by then Hellickson could already have been moved or will be moved within the next few days at that time. So I that's personally the best case scenario, that Velasquez makes another rehab start or 2, maybe a few days after the All-Star break, and then Hellickson is traded around July 20th or so, and then Velasquez is activated off the DL and then pitches well in the rotation. That's best case. Obviously you can't control how well he pitches, but we'll just have to see how they deal with it, because obviously it's a log jam, but it's more starting pitching than you need, and it's a good problem to have. Scott Kingery's at the plate right now, so I'm gonna shut up and let Kyle talk because.
But see, no, I just want to watch Scotty too, so it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
So we'll give you live updates on Scott Kingery.
Yep.
Hopefully it's a home run. Oh my God, it'll be a 3-run home run too.
If
Please.
he hit a 3-run home run,
Prepare for having your eardrums blown
Yeah.
out.
pretty much. What is this pitcher
But,
taking so long for? I want to see him hit.
Seriously. But so as we kind of mentioned with Hellickson, obviously part of trade rumors, along with Howie Kendrick, Pat Neshek, and Joaquin Benoit. Then the 2 kind of outliers, I guess, Galvis and Tommy Joseph. So, in your opinion, do you want Tommy Joseph to be traded?
Not
I'm just gonna
yet.
just ask that
No,
straight up.
I personally don't, because while Hoskins definitely has the higher ceiling of the 2, Tommy Joseph he has more raw power than Hoskins does, even though Hoskins does have more home runs than him this year. I would still take Tommy in a home run derby probably.
Kingery.
But if the offer was really good, like if they paid more than market value for Tommy Joseph, who has been ever since like he struggled in April, or May or whatever it was, he's looked really really good. Like he's looked really good. He doesn't strike out at some crazy rate like a Joey Gallo at like a 30 whatever percent, but he also doesn't. I mean, he doesn't walk a ton either, but he hits. You know, he's a lot of an extra base guy, but he can still put the ball into play for just singles or whatever. And plus, he can hit the ball out of the park because raw power is crazy good. So,
and I mean, he's already got more walks this year than he did last year, so it's good to see. It's just like you said, he's the guy who has all the raw power in the world. It's just that overall his game is a lot worse, I guess, than Hoskins would be at this point, or at least like what we project Hoskins to be.
Yeah. I don't know. Like it's gonna be tough. I think you wait off on him on Joseph until the end of the season, and when the rosters expand in September, let Hoskins get his time. I'm not sure the exact schedule. I'll look at it right now. But if there are American League or if there's interleague games toward the end of the season, which I don't see why there would be, because it's near playoff time.
Yeah, but the MLB is weird now, and they changed the interleague shit, so now we do have like some September interleague games. I think they have like one series with interleague in like September, but it might be too early where like the playoffs are still going on.
Yeah,
for minor leagues.
But it's like right now it's a tough trade for Tommy Joseph or it's a tough situation because you don't want to trade him and then have Hoskins come up and see him really, really struggle, and then see Tommy Joseph go on and become some crazy good first baseman in a couple years' time. So right now I would hold off. Personally, I would hold off. I know a lot of people are calling for Joseph to be traded, so Hoskins is called up. And I'm not saying that I'm not trying to imply that Rhys Hoskins isn't MLB ready, because I think he is. I think Rhys Hoskins is MLB ready. He's as ready as he's gonna be.
He's
so that's really the only reason I could see as to why you would trade him, Tommy Joseph. But I think if you hold on to Joseph, let them both get their time in September, and then go from there, whether you're going to trade Joseph in the offseason or whatever, then I guess go ahead and do it. Trade Cesar Hernandez while you're at it, so we can get Scott Kingery here. But yeah, it like a lot of decisions will be with the Phillies this offseason, it's going to be a tough one, because we're going to have to see some young guys go. And yeah. So.
It all depends really on what kind of offers you get. Like, again, like you said, if we get blown out of the waters with an offer for Joseph, then I don't think you can really pass it up. But otherwise, like you said, probably just hold on to him. Same thing with Galvis. Like, we don't really need to go into too much with that. Just J.P. Crawford probably should just spend the whole year in AAA, and then he can most likely start next year. Or at least platoon us. I think that's probably a more realistic option, unless JP just tears it up down the stretch, which he still might do because he's been very good lately.
Very good at something.
So with Kendrick and Nishek and Benoit, it's basically just trade them for whatever. Like, don't even bother keeping them at all. Like, if they're still here after the trade deadline, that's stupid. Like, just get them out for whatever you can get.
I think the only guy you could forgive being here after the trade deadline is Howie Kendrick. Like, other than that, I
that's
want...
fair.
Like, Nishik and Benoit need to be traded. Like, those are necessities to be traded. But if Howie Kendrick was here after the deadline, I wouldn't be as mad as if Nishek or Benoit were still there. Nishek is like need to go. Like he needs,
Yeah.
absolutely needs to go.
Because they can just go to teams with like, well, he was an all-star, so give me whatever prospect.
Yeah.
Like he's gone.
Yeah, like Nishek, Nishek will probably be the guy that they get the best return for. Hopefully it's from the Nationals, so we could rub it in their face when they lose in the playoffs again, and then we get like an eventual MLB talent for him.
Yes, please.
Like we did with Pavetta. So, and maybe Nishik will go in and like knock someone out on the Nationals, like Jonathan Papelbon did with Bryce. Well, he didn't knock him out, but he got in a fight with Bryce Harper. So hopefully something like that happens. That would be like legendary Pat Neshek. Like that would make my day, basically.
I was wondering what you were referencing, and then I'm like, oh right, Papelbon put frickin' Harper in a chokehold.
Yeah.
Oh, the Nationals! I can't wait till they implode again. It's gonna be amazing.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be fun.
So that about wraps it up for basically the episode. Phillies did win today. They almost shut out the Padres because, of course, Hector Neris had to almost
Give up a run in the ninth.
he had to just kind of implode a little bit in the ninth, but still 6 home
one thing
runs today.
really quick, just as like a really quick thing here. The new Baseball America top 100 prospect list is horrendous.
How many Braves and Yankees are at the top? Like it's probably all.
Okay, well, so the Yankees have the number 3 in Gleyber Torres, which is respectable because Gleyber Torres is really good. The Braves have the number 10 in Ronald Acuna. But there's not really like a team that like has a dominant thing. The Rays have 2 top 14. It's whatever. But the thing is, they have Mickey Moniak as the top prospect in the Phillies system at 46. They have Sixto Sanchez at 47. Did you see this list, by the way?
I saw like a tweet about it, but I didn't see the full list. So I saw like the.
Okay, so Moniak is 46. Sixto is 47. Kingery is 52. Hoskins is nice at 69. Alfaro is 81st. Is there a guy that you are noticing that I haven't said yet?
Yeah, a certain guy that is tearing it up right now for the Iron Pigs.
Yeah. J.P. Crawford. Okay, well, here, I'll give you. Adam Hazley is 98th. And J.P. Crawford, after being preseason ranked 19 in Baseball America's top 100 prospects, is 92nd.
Do they just like? Do they only look at
They
batting
just felt
average?
like overreacting real quick. I think that's what they did.
Do they only look at batting average? Because I think that's it.
I guess so.
Because like,
Yeah, probably.
and like I get it. He struggled this year. He has, but come on, like he has an insane walk to K ratio. He's been tearing it up lately. His defense is still elite. That's a guy that you don't just write off as a 92nd like overall top prospect. Like he still deserves to at least be where like Sixto and some of those guys are. Like he's still a very, very good prospect.
Yeah, you see, the day that Crawford makes the big leagues and starts to tear it up is the day that that we do a retweet Armageddon Philly
Hell
style.
yeah.
So
Oh yeah,
watch out for that. Yeah, I the amount of tweets I have saved in my drafts about like JP and Franco and Odubel. Just wait. These people are gonna be.
just wait till the day the Phillies make the playoffs again. Like, then it's gonna be madness.
The day that the Phillies play really well, and the day that Franco and Odubel and JP and these guys in the minor league, I'm telling you, I have at least 20 tweets about these guys, and there's gonna be more, obviously, because we're Phillies fans. So.
And how many of them are like from 2 accounts? And you know which 2 I'm talking about, but you know like 2 in particular that.
All right, let's see.
Yeah.
So I have if I'm thinking the account that you're talking about, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have okay. Well, I have 5 from one account, and I think we probably know what the same account is.
we know.
And then the other ones are kind of just a mix. Like I have a bunch of random ones. I have a bunch of Sixers ones too.
Oh yeah, the Sixers.
Because why not?
Sixers hot takes are so fun. Which, by the way.
Oh, they're real. They are real.
By the way, I have a hot take about the Sixers that I'll get into now. So, watching the Summer League has been kind of eye-opening for me in a way because basketball has always been kind of like my fourth favorite sport, but like obviously now with Simmons and Embiid and Fultz and all these guys, I'm getting more into it. And I've been watching a bunch of like classic basketball highlights like from the 90s or whatever, and just seeing like how Hakeem Olajuwon played, how like Shaq played, how just old style basketball was played. And then I look at Summer League. Why the fuck do we play like this? Like, why do they play like that? Just why is that the, like, I get that the Warriors are successful doing it, but who cares? Like, we do not need to copy the Warriors and everything that they do, and that's kind of like the gist of what, my hot take is. So, like, this season, like, I don't want Embiid shooting that many threes. I know that, like, that's gonna be a thing that, like, a lot of people want, but no, I just want him murdering people in the post. Because who is a center in the NBA that can really guard him? Other than in the Western Conference, like a Karl Anthony Towns or a DeMarcus Cousins. Like, who can really guard him? Like, there's...
AD, maybe. Yeah, Anthony Davis, I
But
guess,
even then, again, that's Western Conference. Like,
there's a really good defender, but yeah, there's nobody in the East.
Yeah.
Like, because Al Horford isn't going to touch him.
Al Horford is not even a center. He is...
Al Horford,
He is a power forward who doesn't do anything but shoot threes.
Maybe Serge Ibaka, but
even then,
Embiid has height on him. I think Ibaka is 6'10", 6'9", something like that.
and I'm pretty sure...
Like, basically what we're saying is nobody in the Eastern Conference. Okay, maybe Hassan Whiteside. Other than Hassan Whiteside, nobody in the East is touching Embiid.
Yeah, and the same thing with Ben Simmons. Like, I want, like, the only two things I want Ben Simmons to be doing this season are, again, just straight driving to the net like a LeBron James clone, and then again murdering people in the post. Because who is going to stop him? Like, no one. Because the like, if you pair him with, like, against a 4, there's not too many 4s who are going to be able to compete with his size. Like, and I'm talking about like just his weight and like his build. Like, he's so big that he's going to just roll over all these stretch 4s that only shoot 3s. Like, no offense to Dario, but he would take Dario to school in a second. Like, there's no way that Dario could even compete with Simmons in a one-on-one.
And that's saying a good amount, because Dario is a fairly good defender.
So, with guys like Simmons and Embiid, like, I don't want I'm so tired of the pick and roll. Like, it's not even a pick and roll anymore. It's just what the NBA is. It's not even
pick and pop, basically.
Yeah, there is no roll anymore, except for when it's like Rashawn Holmes, because then he'll go to the net. But even then, like, it's just so boring to watch because no team can really defend against it. It's just, you know what's coming each and every time. So all I want this season is for, like, I don't want Ben Simmons to even take one 3. Like, no, just don't even bother with it. Just kill people in the post, drive to the net. Same thing with Embiid. Just, like, his post moves are so good. I don't want that talent to be wasted. And like with Fultz, like,
I can see where you're.
I don't. Fultz is the only guy that I'm really going to be okay with it, because I think that's just like his style and kind of have to play around him. But even then, like,
yeah,
I don't know. I just don't want them to be like the Warriors.
Yeah, like, the thing with this team is that, with the projected starting lineup, right, being Fultz, Redick, Covington, Simmons, and Embiid, like, you have such an athletic lineup, and with Covington being arguably a top 10 defender in all of the NBA, and with Fultz being really athletic, with Embiid being a really good defender, with Simmons, because Simmons can guard, like we mentioned before, basically 4 and down, and he could probably guard some 5s. You could probably get away with not just heaving up 3s on every possession. Like, if you look at the Warriors, right? Other than Draymond and Clay at points, they really don't have... Because Steph is not that good on defense. Neither is... I mean, KD's okay, but the only good thing about him is his length, and that he can, like, bend, guard 4s and down.
KD doesn't really play like a big man. He plays like a point
defense.
guard, but like a 6'11" point guard, and like he's weird.
Like he can't play defense that well. Yeah, like KD is not that good of a defender, and then whoever plays their 5, whether it would have been JaVale McGee or Zaza Pachulia, like neither of them are good defenders.
They shouldn't even be in the
aside
league.
from JaVale McGee being able to block.
Yeah,
like. Other than, like, JaVale McGee being able to block shots, like, he's not a good defender. Like, he doesn't stay in front of anybody. He doesn't really do well in post defense. So, like, those guys they kind of have to shoot a lot because they only have one elite defender in Draymond and then one sometimes elite defender in Thompson. And then the rest of their team is a liability on defense, practically.
And the only reason that they... Yeah.
But with the Sixers...
No, go ahead.
Yeah, but then with the Sixers, you pretty much have an elite defender in Covington. You have a pretty much elite defender in Embiid. You have a very athletic and close to elite, we'll see, obviously, defender in Fultz. Redick isn't a liability on defense, and neither is Simmons. So you can get away with not just on every single possession just shooting 3s. So I personally, I'm a fan of them trying to play, a more, I wouldn't even say classic style basketball, but just like a more aggressive style of basketball than just shooting 3s.
Basically a more like one-on-one type of game than just calling for picks every single possession and just kind of hoping that you get the open 3. Because like I was looking at just like team stats for this season and then like compared to 3 years ago, or not 3 years ago, 10 years ago, and I was looking at like 3-pointers attempted, because obviously like it's no secret that the NBA has become just chuck up a 3 and just hope it goes in because it's worth more than a 2-pointer. So I'm pretty sure the way I looked at it was the Warriors, like the last team, or the last place. No, the first place team from 10 years ago in 3-pointers attempted would have been like 27th in the league like this year. And I'm just like, that just makes no sense. Like that's kind of ridiculous. Like I get it that the Warriors are really good at it, but that's because Steph can shoot from fucking mid-court. Like he has no limit to his range. Yeah. KD the same thing basically.
Yeah.
But not every team is the Warriors, so I'm just so tired of teams trying to build like the same way when you don't need to. Like the Warriors system is so easily exploitable if you just have really good big men and really good defense. Because if you can just like limit perimeter shots,
which the Sixers have.
Exactly. Like if you limit perimeter shots, the Warriors have nothing because you're not going to Zaza in the post. Like Zaza can't do anything but set a screen. Like he's there to do that and that alone.
Yeah.
So they probably won't do it.
Pretty much.
But yeah. I don't want them playing a Warriors type system this year. I want them to just play, like you said, play more aggressive, just go one-on-one, get Embiid in the post, keep him there. He doesn't need to set picks. You can have Simmons do that. Like, I'm kind of okay with Simmons doing that just because worst case scenario, Simmons can get the ball and then just drive to the net. But, like, I don't know, I want them to be different this year. I want them to take advantage of the flaws of every NBA team seemingly now because they've all tried to build like the Warriors have.
Yeah, pretty much. And even in, matchup perspective with the Warriors, the Sixers, with a lineup that they would be able to put out in 2-3 years' time, even if the Warriors can stay together that long, because obviously, Draymond and Clay and they're gonna need to get paid, and I don't know how long Katie's willing to take pay cuts.
I don't know. He might be willing to a while. He's willing to now, but
yeah. But the thing with that is once it comes down to needing to max Clay and Draymond, you're not gonna be able to max both.
Like one of them has to go.
So
if not both.
The Sixers, yeah, and those two are the two best defenders on their team. So if the Sixers can put a lineup out there like they can this year, they have a really good matchup with the Warriors down the line, which is obviously huge. But they kind of play in a conference with a dude named LeBron James.
Yeah.
So
it's
yeah, that'll
like,
be.
I wouldn't be surprised to see the Sixers take like one of the games from the Warriors like season series, especially if like Embiid and Simmons and like the optimal lineup is playing both of those games. Like if they could easily take it if they play the system that I want them to play. I don't think that there's a way that Zaza could guard Embiid or anything like that. So
yeah, one thing I really want to see this year is I can't wait to see the Sixers Celtics games this year, because just please tell me who is guarding Simmons, who is guarding Embiid, who is guarding they don't stand a chance.
Jaylen Brown is guarding everyone because he is the best player in the NBA according to Danny Ainge.
Like Al Horford can't move, so Embiid's gonna toast him. Who's their four? And Simmons is gonna run past anyone.
Jonas Jerebko.
Jay Crowder is their best defender. Yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah. It's gonna be fun. I can't wait.
I can't wait for the schedule to come out because I might have to get tickets for the first 76ers Celtics matchup in Philly because it's gonna be nuts. Like the crowd's gonna be all over. How many Danny Ainge signs are gonna be there? So many.
Oh yeah.
But that about wraps it up. We had a bit more to talk about this week than I expected. We'll try to find more shitty articles for next week because by then Sixers the summer league probably ends a few days after by the next record time.
About when we record, I think. Yeah, I think it ends on the 14th or the 15th because they have a playoff in this one.
So that'll be ending then. Flyers Dev Camp only goes up until the 12th, I think. And Phillies will be on their All-Star break, so we'll find something to talk about, but it'll be a slow week for sure. But that about wraps it up for the 23rd episode of the Drive Podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we will see you next week with probably just some more shitty articles because that's what we do here on the Drive Podcast.